Good day, brothers and sisters. Your brother Rams here, and I'm back again to talk about some of the hot subjects that's been going on here in America and across the globe. But as usual, I always start off with a thank you to all my people who supported me, continue to support me. I appreciate all the kind feedback that you've been giving me, and may God continue to bless you and look out for you and your family and their safety. But right now, we're going to get right into the political sauce and some of the things that's been happening out here. And here, your brothers here to again explain it to my black, brown, red, and yellow brothers, and even my Caucasian brothers of goodwill. What's going on really here in America? And the subject I've chosen today is America headed to war? Is America headed to war, brothers and sisters? And that's a key factor because it means a lot because we're going to war. And we got a president that wants us to go to war. So I'm going to say this to you, some of the factors that I see that are making us head that way. And again, from my previous podcast, I told you who the three mischief makers are on the planet right now. And the three mischief makers are Donald Trump, uh, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Vladimir Putin. They are the three troublemakers, mischief makers, bloodshedders on the face of the earth. All you got to do, if you don't believe what I said, just look and observe for yourself. Just blowing up boats out of the sky for Venezuela. And I told you, Venezuela does not supply drugs to the United States. That's a falsehood. That's a lie. Most of those drugs are targeted for Europe. Now, I'm not saying, well, it's okay, well, send it to Europe. No, that's not right either. But why is the American president getting involved? And if you remember from my last podcast, I told you the real reason he's getting involved is because he wants the oil. He wants the oil out of Venezuela. Remember from my last podcast, I told you Venezuela has a vast majority of untapped oil reserves. Untapped oil reserves, brothers and sisters. So we must understand that. But before I get into the political sauce, I gotta ask for you all to I beg y'all's pardon because this is to me more important than any of all this. And one of the things I want to talk about is these mass shootings. Like I told you, brothers and sisters, America is one of the most violent places in the annals of history. They got shootings that they don't even hardly talk to you about. But the whole world has gone crazy. Mass killings. Ridiculous. Mass shootings. Why? The world has gone crazy. But if you notice, our arch enemy, China, you don't see all the mass killings and that going on. Well, others say, well, they're a communist country. They're not going to let you know that information. But there's still a media. There's an international media. There's YouTube, brothers and sisters. So they can't hide it. If it's legitimate, the world will see it. But I first want to say, I offer my condolences first and foremost to those students shot there on Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. Tragedy. 2 killed, 9 wounded. 2 killed, 9 wounded. Brown University. An Ivy League school at that. But that goes to show you it doesn't matter. That doesn't say that the person who did it was from the Ivy League. But what I'm telling you is all aspects of our life is being targeted. And that's including our universities. But we've had a president that has attacked universities. He didn't attack them with a gun, of course not, but he's attacked them. So he makes them vulnerable. Any university is now vulnerable because of our president, brothers and sisters. So we must understand this. And again, I take my hat off to those people, the families of those who were killed and those who were wounded. May God give you peace. May He help heal your wounded family. And only God can do this. So I asked you to pray for them. I asked all my listeners to pray for them people because it was unfair. They were getting ready for an exam. Group study. I used to do it in college myself, getting ready for the final exam. Because this is final exam week. But again, I say to you, brothers and sisters, I offer my condolences to them. I also offer my condolences to many of my white Jewish friends and supporters out there for the 15 people killed and over 40 wounded in a Hanukkah festival in Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia. Sad, very sad, brothers and sisters. I take my hat off to them. They've lost loved ones. They've got loved ones seriously. 40 wounded, at least 15 killed. What's going wrong? What's going wrong? What's going on in America? The Marvin Gaye had that song. Remember he said, "What's going on?" There was strife then too. That's why he came with that song. What's going on? I'm asking the same question, brothers and sisters. What's really going on? But I have to say something to my white Jewish friends and listeners. And you may not like hearing it, but you have to hear it because it's real facts. When one of the major mischief makers and bloodshedders on this planet, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, decided to wipe out the Palestinian people, bomb them, shoot them, starve them. Now, do you honestly think, let's look at this with some common sense, brothers and sisters, that the world watched as hundreds and thousands of Palestinians were tortured by getting killed unnecessarily, innocent women and children, mothers watching their babies starve to death? Damn it. The International Criminal Court, ICC, has called Netanyahu and Putin war criminals. I didn't call them that, but all you got to do is look. And by the way, that ceasefire that our president so-called brokered, there's no ceasefire. They still bombing and killing them people. But the difference is that they put a muzzle on the media. They put a muzzle on the media. They still killing them people over there because their job is to eradicate them. And I told you, God is not going to let you eradicate them because this is one of God's creations. The Palestinian people were one of God's creations. And then I know some of my white Jewish friends will say, but remember October 7th, Brother Rams? Remember that? And I said it was a damn disgrace. It was a catastrophe for my white Jewish brothers and sisters to get killed like that. It was. And I offered my condolences then, as I still do. But unfortunately, I have to tell the truth, brothers and sisters, and it's because the Palestinians' land was stolen from them. It was stolen from them. So you can understand resentment. And sometimes resentment festers. And I'm not justifying it, but I'm asking you to understand their frustration on October 7th. To watch their land slowly been taken from them. Until finally, Netanyahu just said, I'm going to just eliminate them. War criminal. Can't do it. God's not going to sanction that because he created the Palestinians. Plus, remember, as I said, if you remember from some of my podcasts, in 1919, the League of Nations gave 4 countries their freedom to govern themselves. That was Palestine, Lebanon, Iraq, and Syria, because they all used to be part of the Turkish Empire. So in 1919, a Class A mandate, Article 22, look it up, and the League of Nations says those 4 countries should be able to govern themselves. And Palestine was one of them. 1990. But in 1917, The issue was what? Comes the Balfour Agreement with Arthur Balfour and Lord Rothschild of Great Britain. And they decide that now they're going to have a homeland for my white Jewish brothers and sisters of Europe. My white Jewish sisters and brothers from Europe. So they decided that they needed a homeland. And they decided they're going to take it from the Palestinians because at the time, Great Britain was a great power. And I'll talk about them later. So they used force to take those people's land, which at the time was 92% Muslim and Christian. Britain had no legal authority to take that land. And you don't think the Palestinians have regretted it ever since? And that led to the buildup of October 7th and led to several little mini wars. There have been several mini wars, 67. I can't think of others, but these wars were fought because their land was stolen, brothers and sisters. And when someone steals something from you, you can't just forget it. But going back to that mass killing there on Bondi Beach there in Sydney, Australia, on the first, second day of Hanukkah, which is a religious holiday, is sickening. But you have to understand why. And part of the reason why is because those people are frustrated. And if you think that they sat there, people around the globe sat there and watched innocent Palestinians being slaughtered, babies dying of starvation, mothers dying, man, and you don't think it affected them? The United Nations condemned Israel for that. And most of the countries condemned Israel for that. But unfortunately, there are certain countries that have veto power in the UN. United States is one of them. Israel is one of them. And I think definitely Russia is one of them. Don't you find that strange? Look at the three. Russia, Israel, and the United States. They have veto power in the UN. So they block a lot of stuff from the other countries, the brown countries, the black countries, the red countries. They block that with something they don't like. And it's my time to say to you, brothers and sisters, that it's time for these black, brown, and red and yellow nations to leave the UN. Because if 3 countries can control the rest of the world, that UN ain't worth 5 cents in bean money. Ain't worth a hill of beans. The UN ain't worth a hill of beans if you can let 3 countries veto anything that you want done. And that's what has happened. They have vetoed everything. And the International Criminal Court has recognized Benjamin Netanyahu, Putin as both being war criminals. Both being war criminals, brothers and sisters. But I again take my hat off and offer my condolences to those who were the families of them 15 people killed, and the more than dozens and dozens of people who were wounded. God, please protect them. May their families find peace and solace. And as I said, my brothers and sisters, indirectly who's responsible for that is Benjamin Netanyahu, and I'll say it with no problem. Because of his insane genocide of Palestinians, killing Palestinians. They got food set up. The Palestinians come go get the food, and then they get shot. And they always use that same lame jive line. I say jive, that's old school. Well, we thought some Hamas was among them. That's going to be their excuse all the time. Well, we killed all them Palestinians because there was some Hamas around among them. The world is already upset with Israel for that. And like I said, unfortunately, brothers and sisters, do you think that the world's going to sit and watch you have a festive celebration of your religion, and then think about all the Palestinians that were slaughtered and think you're going to have peace. Always remember there's a saying, there's no justice when there's no peace. No justice, no peace. There's no justice given to the Palestinian people, so there will be no peace. And when Netanyahu kept bombing those people, and he still is, then he's put white Jews in danger all around the world. He's put white Jews in danger all around the world. And it's sad to say, but this is the facts. You're going to see more attacks on the white Jews. But remember, I still got to say this to you. Judaism, Islam, Christianity, you can be of any race. None of them are a race of people. And I'll say it again. Judaism is not a race of people. Christianity is not a race of people. Islam is not a race of people. Jews are people who practice the religion of Judaism. Christianity, Christians are those who practice Christianity. They're called Christians. You could be any color. Muslims, you can be any color. As Malcolm X found out, you can be of any color. Because religion doesn't have a particular race. But there are races who practice it before other races. And therein lies the problem in America. Because we have an idea that Jews are white people. And they're not. They're definitely not. Because one of the original religions of the original people was Judaism. And it's written on the walls of the pyramids. And the pyramids were built long before there was even a Caucasian even thought of. It talks about the Hebrews. And I'm telling you right now, my brothers and sisters, you're looking at an original Semite. Look right here. Tribes of Israel. I'm from the tribe of Judah. Anti-Semite, where did the Semitic language come from? Western Asia and Africa. I'm just giving you a little history, brothers and sisters. This is the true facts of the original people's religion. This is one of the first religions that the original people practiced in a monotheistic fashion. Prior to all this was polytheism. That's many gods. But the Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaton decided, no, we're going to worship one God, which then led to eventually the one God being of the Hebrew Israelite nation. So I want to give you a little history of that, so you don't think that the original people aren't the original Jews, the original Hebrews. History bears me witness. Now you can take that or let it alone. You can take that or let it alone. But as I said, brothers and sisters, the real reason Trump is targeting these so-called narco-terrorist boats was not to stop the flow of drugs to America. That was a scam. It still is. He's still killing them. Mischief maker, bloodshedder. He knows nothing about the people he's killing. Know what those drugs are supposedly targeted for? Europe. And again, as I said earlier, I'm not, let's send the drugs to Europe. No, I'm not. Anywhere's bad. So again, what's the real reason for you bombing these ships? And I told you, the reason is they want that oil. They want that oil, brothers and sisters. Because remember, Venezuela has a vast deposit of untapped oil reserves. Can you imagine now if you could get in there and tap that, the type of money you could make? That's very important to understand. That's why he wants it. And then the other piece, if he gets into a dragged out war with them, and I'm explaining something in a minute about why he claims to invade it. If he gets dragged into a drawn out war, and I'll show you how he will, then guess what happens? They can now suspend elections and he can stay as president. Don't ever put nothing past this guy. Remember, he's a convicted felon. He's a liar. They got him lying so much, they catch him lying all the time. It's pathological the way he lies. And one of the things he always says is, I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't know nothing about it. But no one of them nitwit reporters ever say, well, Mr. President, you're the President of the United States and you don't know anything about this? How could you claim to be the President of the United States and you don't know anything? But you got all kind of advisors. You got all kind of briefings. But you know absolutely nothing about this? I find that hard to believe, Mr. President. But that's an out for him. I didn't know nothing about it. I don't know them. No, you're lying. You do know. Because nothing happens out of that White House without your permission. So to sit there and lie is sad. It's sad, brothers and sisters. You know, he wants that oil. But guess what? Remember what he did with the ex-president of Honduras? Now, he's so, it's killing American children. Oh, we got to do something about it. But yet, he pardoned ex-president Juan Hernandez. Ex-president Juan Hernandez. Let's take a look at him. He's characterized as the one who sent 400 tons of cocaine to America. Fact! This is a fact. There's no fact about them Venezuelan boats. Brothers and sisters, there's no facts to that. And Congress is so pathetic because they should immediately call for them to stop that. Until you got some real proof, you got to stop. Well, see, he has the right. Does he really? Remember, he calls it a war, but he doesn't have the power to declare war. He's breaking the law, brothers and sisters, but all they can do is scratch their head and go, well, I know some kind of way he's breaking the law. Well, find out, damn it! Find out! Sitting up here letting them wage war on these people. For what? For the oil. Remember what he's done. He's confiscated one of their tankers. Saying, well, we took it in because it was sanctioned oil. Who's sanctioned what? What are you talking about? They got the right to sell their product to anybody. They do. No matter how it's done, they still have that right. You see what India said to the United States? The hell with you. You ain't going to tell us who to sell to get oil from. We can buy oil from anybody. And that's what they want you to know. You can get oil from anybody. We can sell oil to anybody. And I don't care if it be through a third party, give it to A, who then gives it to B, and then it wasn't meant for B, but you gave it to A and they sold it to B because you didn't want B to have it. So it's unsanctioned. Says who? You don't say that about Saudi Arabia. You better not. They doing the same thing. They selling sanctioned oil all around the globe. So again, brothers and sisters, we got to take a firm look at this because it's hurting America. This is hurting America. He's bombing these ships, doing all kind of crazy stuff. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. What's the other reason? He wants, the real reason is he wants regime change. He don't want Maduro there. He don't want Maduro's there. Because see, Maduro's ain't a puppet. Now, early on one of my earlier podcasts, I talked about how the U.S. government had a habit of taking over and destroying leaders of certain South American countries and African countries to rob them of their resources. And I gave you a couple of names. I'm going a little bit more in depth. So when you see this, hear this, then you'll say, oh, that's why he wants regime change. Let me give you a name. I mentioned it before. His name was Salvador Allende. Salvador Allende. He was the president of Chile from 1970 until 1973. He was called a socialist. His main political point was this. His main political point is this. And you got to remember, this is important, brothers and sisters. Pay attention to this critical point. He wanted the resources that Chile had. He wanted those resources and the money that it brought in to be used by and for the Chilean people. Let me say that again. He wanted the Chilean resources to be used and benefit the Chilean people. Because what America had gotten into was political assassinations. They got into political assassinations for what? For countries' resources. Let me pull your coat and refresh your memory, my brothers and sisters. What was the first thing he offered? He said to Vladimir Zelensky. He said, "Well, I'll protect you, but you got to make a deal where I get the minerals out of your country." See how this is eerily similar? Sure, I can't guarantee your safety, but I can stop, and me being there will stop them, Russia, from attacking you. So what I'll do is this. You give me some of your mineral wealth. And I can't guarantee nothing, but us mining it, Russia won't attack us. They won't attack you as long as I'm getting some of them minerals out of your country, Mr. Zelensky. So I just got to remind you, this is the state of play. Now, here we go again. Donald Trump knows what? Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world. Can you imagine what that means? They have the largest oil deposits in the world. It's just untapped. See the connection, brothers and sisters? He wants their oil. He wanted Zelensky's minerals. But Salvador Allende, my brother, said, nah, this type of money gonna go for my peoples. He was a socialist. Not necessarily a bad thing. That's the foolishness that my Caucasian brothers and them tell you. Are you profiting that greatly in capitalism? When selfishness and greed is taking over? Oh, yeah, and by the way, capitalism has one major flaw. Know what the major flaw is in capitalism? It's called racism. Yeah, that's why the Chinese and a lot of communist countries laugh at us. When they say, when you talk about democracy, they said that ain't no democracy. How is a democracy? And when in your own constitution, you claim that the black people are 3/5 human. And you saying the pillar of your democracy is one man, one vote. Nobody's above the law. Hypocrisy. Donald Trump proved that. Donald Trump proved that, brothers and sisters. So it's important that you understand that. It's important that you understand this thing. So, again, it's the hypocrisy of democracy. I sound like a poet and don't even know it. Again, the hypocrisy of democracy. Sounds like a podcast I might do later on. But that's what it is. He was a socialist, Salvador Allende, and he wanted the resources of his people to benefit his people, which only makes sense to me. Ain't Trump saying the same thing? America for Americans. But of course, what come out of his mouth, if you believe the stuff he says, then I'll sell you a bridge in Brooklyn tomorrow. It doesn't work. Okay? It doesn't work. And I'm going to tell you about another political assassination that the government was involved in. First of all, let's go back even a little further. Remember this thing about the Bay of Pigs? America wanted regime change in Cuba. Remember that? No, I'm sorry. I'll take that back. Only the old heads remember that. Cuban Missile Crisis. Russia threatened to put nuclear weapons in Cuba. The Russian Missile Crisis. But again, America wanted to overthrow Castro because he was Khrushchev's boy. So they wanted him out. Again, this is America doing political shenanigans, I'll say it is. Think about it. Fidel Castro, which wound up being a disaster, especially at the Bay of Pigs. Salvador Allende of Chile. And now I'm going to the third one. And he's a black man. His name is Patrice Lumumba. He was born July 2nd, 1925. And he was assassinated in January of 1961. Patrice Lumumba. His party was the Congolese National Movement. Uh-oh, what does that mean, brother? Well, before he was a member of the Congolese National Movement, he was the first prime minister of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. He was the first prime minister of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And that was from June of 1960 to September of 1960. Then after that, he went on to be a part of the Congolese National Movement. Now, what does that mean? Congolese National Movement. Patrice Lumumba was Pan-African. In other words, he believed Africa for Africans. That was his main thing. That was his main thing, brothers and sisters. But now I'm going to give you some facts that went along with him. Again, remember Venezuela? They got them certain minerals, that oil. But get this. The Congo's assets, what they had. All right, you ready for it, brothers and sisters? Just listen. They had vast, that means a lot, vast, untapped mineral deposits. What were some of the minerals, Brother Rams? They had cobalt. They had copper. You know, you make pipe out of copper. They had diamonds. Oh, you know, Africa got diamonds all over the place. That's why your history, black man and woman, you love to wear you some diamonds. You love some diamonds. I can remember I told this young brother one time, I said, listen, why do you think you wear that gold and you wear those fancy jewelry and all that? That's your history, brothers and sisters. Gold, diamonds, but we loved it for its beauty. Just think about it. I said this to the young brother. I said, just think about it. You got you some gold and you got you some diamonds because they're plentiful in Africa. And you go to your man down the street and he's a goldsmith. And you say, brother, I'd like a gold helmet with diamonds in it. The brother say, yeah, well, I can make that for you. Craftsmanship, black man, goldsmith. Brother, you come back in X amount of times and I'll have you a gold helmet with diamonds in it. Because we like to look good. That's us. Sisters used to make wigs. Brother Rams, you said black women's made wigs? Way, way, way back, brother. Remember, we got we got resources from China, silk. So we can make silk wigs. Take some silk and make some hair. Put on a wig, black women. This is our history. That's why you love to have shine and be fine. Because why? This is our history. And I want you to embrace your history and embrace your beauty. But going back to Patrice Lumumba, he had diamonds, they had gold, and they had this material called columbite. Columbite, it's a black ore. And it's used, get this, guess what it's used for? To make smartphones, laptops, and electronic devices. Think about that. Smartphones, laptops, electronic devices. This is some of the resources in the Congo. Now imagine if we had control of that. And what Patrice Lumumba wanted, again, his thing was what? He wanted these resources to be used for his people. He was a Pan-Africanist. Black land to be used by the black people who live on it. Let it benefit them. Can you imagine how rich the Congo would be now if those resources that were stolen from them by the colonizers, and guess who one of the main ones is? I got to remind you of this, brothers and sisters, are the British, because at the time they were the power of the world. So they used their brute military force to colonize and take from the original people. To colonize and take from the original people. Because land, the minerals and assets in Africa were vast. Because that's where the original people settled. They walked the earth. They got proof black folks walked the earth in South America. And if you doubt what I say, look up the Olmec nations in South America. They got statues of black people there, damn it! We don't walk the earth everywhere. You're the oldest people on the earth, the Asiatic black man. That's who he is. He's not a Negro. He's not colored. He's not African American. He's the Asiatic black man. Now you can take that or let it alone. But this is the truth, brothers and sisters. So I say this to you. This is the truth. But let's pivot back to the convicted felon president. He's been bombing these boats. And what has he also threatened? Oh, the land's gonna be next. The land's gonna be next. Let's take a look at that. See, nobody ever take a look at it and run it down, but your brother Rams is here to run it down to you. I'm going to pull your coat so much, you're going to say, good God, Brother Rams. But I have to tell you that because that's why I have this podcast. Because we got to change and we got to take a different mentality. See, he wants to take us backwards. He can't take you backwards, brothers and sisters, because God's not going to let him. Everything he tries is going to fail because it goes against God's law. He's talking about invading Venezuela. That's going to be next. Let's take a look at it. Why it'll be a problem. It'll be like Vietnam, and I'm going to show you why. Listen carefully, brothers and sisters. What is the capital of Venezuela? It's called Caracas. Caracas, Venezuela is the capital. But say you come there, you got that military, you got that super carrier out there, you got all of this. But most of the military people are stationed in the Caribbean along with Trinidad. They're in the Caribbean islands, and they're on in Trinidad as well. That's where most of the American troopers, soldiers are stationed right now. Now let's look at the logistics. Not no emotion. Look at the logistics. How would this ground thing actually happen? Just like America didn't look when he said, we're going to have mass deportations. We're going to deport millions of them and blah, 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 blah. And only one person I can ever remember said, but what does that look like? And you could never describe it. Now you see what it looks like. Just going up, snatching people off the street. Mass men just snatching them. Snatching babies, snatching mothers from their babies. That's mass deportation, what it looks like. Now let's look at what an invasion of Venezuela would look like. Okay? Now, Caracas is in the northern part of Venezuela. All right? The entire northern coastline is nothing but steep mountains and rocks. So if you try to go for the capital, like most invasions do, they try to take out the capital, you're going to run into steep mountains and rock. A direct landing would be near impossible. So to go take that city, it's just about impossible. You know what you're going to have to do? And this is what has to be done. The U.S. would need a D-Day. Remember D-Day invasion? Through this narrow gully further down. Through a narrow gully. And that's important to understand, brothers and sisters. So now, they got to go through this narrow gully and then march hundreds of miles through, get this, rainforests, just to reach the capital of Caracas. They got to go through rainforests. Just to reach the capital of Caracas, Venezuela. Like I said, U.S. troops are stationed mainly in the Caribbean Sea and in Trinidad. The trip from Trinidad is a long distance. So now you've got to bring the troops in from Trinidad, and that's a long distance. From the other parts of the Caribbean islands, long distance. Okay? So now they go through this, you land them, They can't land it near Caracas because there's steep mountains and rocks. Can't do that. So you got to go further down the coastline, which then means once you do land, now you got to truck hundreds of miles through rainforest to go take over the capital of Venezuela, Caracas. Look at the logistical issue here, brothers and sisters. It's a logistical mess. Can you imagine trying to get tanks through there? Can you imagine trying to get armored vehicles through there? A logistical nightmare. Oh no, I got one more for you, brothers and sisters. Again, we got to look at the logistics as this invasion. See, he's just talking. He's just talking. He just want to sound tough, like a typical bully. But when black people wake up and say, but how would he do that? Just like very few people woke up to say, well, how are you going to deport all them people? Something ain't right. But they didn't think like that. They just said, just get the brown peoples out of here. Yeah, get them Spanish and eventually get the blacks out of here. Yeah, go ahead, Trump. We for that. And then he turned on them like fake gold turn when you buy it. But here's the twist, brothers and sisters. Guess where Maduro's is? His stronghold. His stronghold isn't in the north. His stronghold ain't in the north. He's located in the south. He's located in the south, my brothers and sisters. Yep, his command is in the southern part of Venezuela. And guess what you're going to have to do to go get him? It's located deep in the Amazon. Not just in the Amazon, deep his command is. A massive location with no exact location. That's where they don't know exactly where he lives. He lives down here somewhere. Now I'm sure American technology we found Bin Laden, blah 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 blah. Sure you can, but then you got to go get him. And what you're gonna deal with would have to push through hundreds of miles. Get this, deeper into jungle terrain. They got to go in through jungle terrain. Look at what I'm about to set up. And that means crossing rivers, swamps, and that thick, thick rainforest. It's not going to be easy. Remember, they got to march hundreds of miles to get to these places because you can't use trucks. You may can use helicopters, which they sort of did in Vietnam. And as I finish saying this will pull your coat to what's happening, brothers and sisters. Waiting for the American soldiers is 500,000 Venezuelan troops who are well trained in guerrilla warfare. Stop! They are well trained in guerrilla warfare. What's that? What's guerrilla warfare, man? It's a type of fighting where you know you're outnumbered and the other side got more technologically advanced, but you break it down. Because what it does is this. The Vietnam style guerrilla war, which is the same as the Venezuelan, because guess who the Venezuelans learned it from? They learned it from the Vietnamese. Now, when you got some foreign invader and you got rainforests and you got swamps, this is what you do. They drag your army into the rainforest. And then now I don't need hundreds of soldiers. All I got to do is place certain people in critical places and I can cause a lot of damage before you get me. I remember in Vietnam, because I have family that went to Vietnam, and they said they had those Vietnamese. They was hiding underground. They were in trees. Give them a bowl of rice and some fish, and just sit up in the tree and wait for the American troops to come by. They always send the scout first. They let him in. So he would tell the others, oh, yeah, it's okay. Come on over here. We good. And then once they got him in, they shut the trap. And hundreds upon thousands of American soldiers were ambushed due to guerrilla warfare. So what did America do? They had to get past that thick foliage. The rainforest is thick foliage where you can hide under a leaf. Big old leaf. You can hide under it with an AR-15 or an AK-47. The soldiers will never see you until you done mowed down about 20, 30 of them. They got to go through swamps. Can a tank go through a swamp? So what did America do in Vietnam? They had to kill the foliage. What did they do to kill the foliage? They sprayed this stuff on the plants called Agent Orange. It destroyed foliage, but on the sad part, brothers and sisters, it also destroyed the soldiers because it gave them cancer. Anyone who breathed that Agent Orange stuff in wound up with cancer. Now, this is knowledge from an old head like myself. But you see the state of play? Venezuela's going to draw him into a Vietnam style war if he so thinks he's going to invade them people. But he don't care, because if he's still fighting that war, he gets to still be president, brothers and sisters. So it can't be that. It can't be that. So as I said, this is the state of play. He done took the oil tanker. That's pirate. Because he's letting you know his real intentions. His real intentions ain't to stop no drugs. That's a scam. That's tricknology. We're trying to save the little kids and stuff. But then why did you let Hernandez go? He bought in 400 tons of cocaine. And like he said, I'm going to stuff the cocaine up the gringo's nose. I'm going to stuff the cocaine, the cocaína, the perico. I'm going to stuff it up the gringo's nose. See? But he pardoned them. And he's responsible for thousands and thousands of deaths here in America. They worried about fentanyl. Fentanyl, blah, blah, blah. Fentanyl, yeah. You have no proof that those people on them boats are transporting fentanyl. You have no proof of it. But guess who are the main suppliers of fentanyl? China and Mexico. And it's still getting in. It's still getting in, brothers and sisters. So we must understand this. So again, the state of play for Trump is he's just want to take the resources. He don't care nothing about America. And again, what's America's big issue right now? See, this is all the distraction. This is all the distraction. Healthcare. At the end of this month, everybody's healthcare is going to skyrocket. And he wants to avoid that. But guess who's going to hurt hard? Who's going to hit hard is the Republicans in those red states. The rural hospitals in Tennessee, Arkansas, Alabama, Kentucky. When they go in there, cause see them places, if you don't have any insurance, they damn sure ain't gonna see you. So, brothers and sisters, we have to understand this. We have to understand this. So again, we Mr. Trump has no answer for health care. Remember he said this? Refresh y'all's memory. Well, I've been thinking of some concepts of health care. Concept? Tell that to a sucker whose child is sick as hell. Give them a concept. See, the main reason why they got something against Obamacare because they named it after a black man. They put a black man's name on it. Remember, they considered him less than human. We'll replace it. Remember, they done spent 15 years trying to, quote, replace Obamacare. They haven't come up with a plan yet because there isn't any plan. Their plan is just trash what we have, even though many people have used Obamacare or the ACA, Affordable Care Act. But they put Obamacare name on it, so fostered that hatred because a black man made it. So it fosters hatred. But that's not the deal. It fosters hatred. Healthcare, big issue. They're distracting from it. They don't want Americans to focus on that. Doesn't matter. You can keep focusing on Venezuela all you want, but it's not going to matter. You can focus on them all you want, brothers and sisters, but nonetheless, the real distraction is the healthcare. The real distraction is the Epstein files. The real distraction is the price of everything going up. What's the word? He called it a hoax, affordability. And that's what the Democrats bring out. Hey, there's no such thing. Affordability is a hoax. It's a hoax to billionaires, of course. But you look at them constituents in them red states, and you'll see. You'll see. They're starving. They have no health care. Thank you, Mr. Trump. They gutted it before it even happened. Remember with the cuts? Remember your friend Elon Musk? Cut Medicaid right off the bat. So what plan do you have? Because if it needs, whatever the bill needs to be paid by Medicaid is gone. It's now gone, brothers and sisters. It's now gone. But as I always say, that's the topic that I dealt with so far. But you know me, I got to have some black history. Brother Rams, you just, yeah, I got to have some black history. Okay? Got to have some black history because without proper knowledge, you're subject to, what's my saying? I said, without proper education, you are subject to manipulation. And that's what happens with a lot of our people, brothers and sisters. That happens with a lot of our people that we're subject to manipulation because we don't have the proper education, which means the knowledge of self. If you don't have knowledge of self, you can't be successful in anything. You can't. You can't be successful in anything because you don't know your story. So you're destined to be fooled. You're destined to be fooled, brothers and sisters. You're destined to be fooled. So, as I say, I'm going to take a little pivot here and go into some black history because we got to teach our own. So, but before I get started, I'm looking up black massacres because remember I told you, I said one of the things that the 3/5 clause did was it made us subhuman. It made us subhuman, brothers and sisters. It made us subhuman. And so that made it legal to kill us. It made it legal to kill us, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to I got a couple of notes here I wanted to bring up. Oh yeah, here we go. Remember it was legal to kill us Before I get into my Black history piece, I'm going to talk about some Black massacres. And you say, Brother Ram, that's kind of tough to bring up Black massacres. Yeah, that shows you that America did not consider you human. So killing you meant nothing. The first one I want to talk about is, of course, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. Again, early 20th century. Black folks were thriving. Didn't have nearly the money you have now, but what they had that you don't have now is unity and trust in each other. Unity and trust. Oh, and I got to add this, and love for each other. What did I say? J. Edgar Hoover said? He was quoted as saying, the biggest threat to America is the unity of the black man. That's the biggest threat to America. Because if you ever come together, like the Honorable Marcus Garvey said, up you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will. And all you got to do is get up. And Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma proved that. But then again, then my Caucasian brothers got jealous. They saw the greatness come out in us. Black excellence, it's called. You weren't coons and dancers and ball players. You were businessmen, professionals, wearing the best of clothes, even had cars. 1921, car just basically came out, and black folks had them. They were wearing furs and stuff. Black excellence. All that wiped out because of an angry white mob in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Burned the people, killed the people, bombed the people with old World War I warplanes filled with gasoline bombs and just dropped them on the black folks' businesses. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. Another black massacre. Elaine, Arkansas, 1919. 1919. Now, it's called, let me see what it is called now. Yep, 1919. Elaine, Arkansas. Mass murder of black people by white people. These are massacres. Elaine, Arkansas, 1919. Osceola, Florida, 1912. Osceola, Florida. I might be saying it wrong. 1912. The next one, Rosewood, Florida, 1923. We noticed at the turn of the century. What came out in the part of the early 20th century? The Ku Klux Klan going around terrorizing black folks. Because remember, it was legal to kill us. That's why you had the Ku Klux Klan. We don't have to worry about it. We just string them up. We burn them and string them, put a cross on their lawn, and hang the Negroes. Ain't gonna be no law against it. Can you imagine the fear black folks lived in? But we still survived and thrived. Again, like I said, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Elaine, Arkansas, Osceola, Florida, 1912. Oh, excuse me, I got that wrong, brothers and sisters. That's Oceanville, Georgia. I'm sorry. Let me correct myself now. That was in Georgia, but it doesn't matter because they killed us. That was 1912. But in Rosewood, Florida, was in 1923. Rosewood, Florida was in 1923. But again, they drove us into the swamps because they saw black businesses thriving. Because when left alone, baby, we're master builders. Our history has proven that. Seneca Valley. Seneca Valley, 1857. Well, you know they were coming after us. They didn't want to see no Negro build nothing. You're uppity. You're a trigger. And you know what I really mean. So I say, brothers and sisters, no issue with killing us. Because that clause in the Constitution, you're 3/5. You're not human, you're subhuman. So you're not entitled to the same rights as a human. These were black massacres. Look them up so you get some more in depth as to what they were about. But right now, I'm going to talk about something. Again, this is Black history now. This ain't no joke. This is Black history. I'm talking about when you think about a cowboy. Say, I got my cowboy hat on. It's in tribute to those black cowboys and black folks back then that sort of been obliterated from history. But I'm going to bring them up and keep them up. The first one I want to talk about is a woman. See, there you go, Brother Rams, with the woman, because I said the women have stood up always for us, but we haven't always stood up for them. And the first sister I want to mention, her name is, they call her Stagecoach Mary Fields. Stagecoach Mary Fields. That was a nickname. She was the first African American female star route mail carrier in the U.S., delivering mail in rugged Montana. Good Lord. She was a mail carrier. She's a mail carrier. Mary Fields. And let me tell you about this. This sister was a warrior now. Oh, she did this from 1895 to 1903. And what was she known for? Her fearlessness. Now she carried the mail, baby, in Montana. Black person, damn it. Look at her. Standing up. I got a job to do. But guess what she's known for? Carrying guns, particularly the shotgun. Her nickname really is Shotgun Mary Fields. Because she loaded up a shotgun and lighted sapsucker's butt up. Okay? She smoked cigars. But what they loved about her is her unwavering reliability. Black woman, reliable. Put them on the job, they get the job done, baby. Her reliability in all weather. Now, Montana ain't no like Hawaii. Some of the weather's all they got some snowstorms, blizzards, all of that. Mountainous areas. But she was reliable. That was our sister. Stagecoach Mary Fields. Give me a little history. Look her up. Oh, the sister was 6 feet. She's a big sister now. And she has guns. You couldn't mess with that sister. She'll bust you up like it ain't nothing. I'm going to now move over to a brother, because I got to do sisters and brothers, because I want you all to see. And this is a heavy, heavy dude. He's the one that they based the Lone Ranger on. But of course, the Lone Ranger, they made him white. But he was the original Lone Ranger. What was the Lone Ranger? He was a U.S. Marshal. But the original Lone Ranger's name was Bass Reeves. Let me say that again. Bass Reeves. He was born in 1838 and died in 1910. He was the first black U.S. Deputy Marshal west of the Mississippi. West of the Mississippi, he was a U.S. Marshal. He was the real Lone Ranger. Remember Lone Ranger and Tonto? That's for you old heads. You young people don't know nothing about that. The Lone Ranger, but they couldn't make him the black man. They had to make him a Caucasian. But the original Lone Ranger is Bass Reeves. In his career, his 32-year career, he arrested more than 3,000 criminals. He arrested more than 3,000 criminals, brothers and sisters. He killed 14 of them in self-defense. You can shoot a pistol now. He wasn't no joke. And can whoop your butt too. Either which way you want to go, he had it. Bass Reeves, the original Lone Ranger. Just letting you know that, my brothers and sisters. But this is the things that we must do. We must tell our children about the Bass Reeves, the Stagecoach Mary Fields. We got to tell them what's happening. Okay? I like to, this is one of my favorite parts. I like to go into talking about black inventors. But before I talk about black inventors, I'm going to talk about an African king. I talked about our sister, Ya Asantewa, warrior woman. But now I got to talk about a brother. We're talking about a brother his name was King Khufu. King Khufu. He was a pharaoh. He was famous for his construction building the Great Pyramid of Giza. The Great Pyramid in Giza, one of the first ones. Great pyramid, big old thing in Giza. The pharaoh Khufu, Khufu, King Khufu. Oh yeah, he built the world's greatest and most spectacular civilization. Not him specifically, but over 7,000 years ago, people from Central Africa settled in the Nile Valley. 7,000 years ago. Was the Caucasian on the earth? Nah. He wasn't even around. He came much later. 7,000 years ago, these black folks settled in Central Africa and near the Nile Valley. They built the world's greatest and most spectacular civilizations. That's the black people that came to that area. But to build this Great Pyramid of Giza, you know what they used? They used advanced construction technique. Advanced construction technique. Khufu reigned from 1589 BCE to, 2589 to 2566 BCE. That's sort of like before Christ. And Khufu was from the Old Kingdom, which means the fourth dynasty. Now, I told you before in Black history, they got close to 29 dynasties in Egypt. And then they got a bunch of dynasties for Nubia, which is the Sudan. So that's important to understand. He commissioned the the building of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now remember, he used advanced skills, but inside the Great Pyramid, there are 3 main chambers. Get this now. Inside the Great Pyramid, there's 3 main chambers. The subterranean chamber, Queen's chamber and the king's chamber. This is what he had commissioned. The internal layout included precision construction. It must be precise of corridors and shafts. They had everything coordinated. The corridors and the shafts. Everything was coordinated because remember what's sitting on top of it? Nothing but stone, limestone. And he had a situation where he kept the materials flowing. They crafted tools that would help build it. What this said was it included advanced architectural and engineering skills. Hold on to that. Advanced architectural and engineering skills, which were then written down on paper and made manuscripts. But when the conquerors came, they burned all of that up. Some of it they stole, but they wanted to obliterate the history of the original people. The building of the Giza showed advancement in what? Construction technique and engineering skill. King Khufu of the fourth dynasty. Imagine now there's 29 dynasties. He's in the fourth. That's the old school. Basically, brothers, that's what they're saying. He's from the old school. All right. And now I want to go into talking about some black inventors. I got to do that because why? Because a lot of times, like I said, the myth in America is that your intelligence is less than the white man's. But in actuality, your intelligence predated anything the white man ever did. And your accomplishments have been world known and world renowned. They call them some of the wonders of the world. They said the pyramid, some aliens helped. No, it didn't. There weren't no damn aliens. That was just a black man building for self. But I'm going into some black inventors now. And I love this part. Of course, I'm going to start with a sister. Her name was Jocelyn Harrison. She was a chemical engineer. Jocelyn Harrison, Dr. Jocelyn Harrison. Excuse me, sister, if I don't mean to disrespect nobody. That was one of my faux pas. Her name is Dr. Jocelyn Harrison. She holds patents from products made out of piezoelectric materials. Piezoelectric materials, which converts mechanical energy into electrical energy and vice versa. She holds patents on this piezoelectric material. And what does it do? It changes mechanical energy to electric energy, then turns electric energy to into it turns electric energy into back to mechanical energy. So that's important, brothers and sisters. Okay? Her name is Dr. Joycelyn Harrison. Now there's another brother. I got to do a brother. His name is Joseph Lee. And guess what he did? It was in 1847 to 1908. Joseph Lee invented the automatic bread making machine. You know how we like bread? He made the automatic baking machine. Bread making machine, excuse me. Joseph Lee, inventor. I got another inventor. Her name is Annie Easley. She was born in 1933 in Alabama. Good God, roll, tide, roll. She was a computer scientist and a mathematician. Oh, shoot. Computer scientist way back then? How is she a computer scientist? She figured things out so fast in her head to make your damn head spin. That's how fast she could calculate. Like a computer. She invented a high energy rocket technology. She invented high energy rocket technology, which helped to boost rockets into space. She went to work for NASA in 1955. She wasn't one of the hidden figures, but she's still a hidden figure. With Katherine Johnson, Mary Vaughn, and there was another sister. But it wasn't Annie Easy, but she came along and was in there just like them. They were human computers. And they talk about your mental acuity, please. They can't touch your mental acuity. You run circles around, brothers and sisters. You run circles around. Again, Annie Easley, Dr. Joyce Harrison, and the other one is our brother, and that is Joseph Lee. Teach your children this. You ain't got to do a bunch of them. Just do one or two every day. Pick one or two for the week. Have you test your kids on it. Pick someone from Africa and pick someone from America. And make sure you alternate black women, black men. Same with the inventions. Let our children know that it don't make a difference whether you're male or female. You have academic excellence inside of you. So, my brothers and sisters, thank you very much for listening. I appreciate all your support. And all I ask is that everybody pray. Because the true and living God is here and take away this wickedness. That's all we can do, dear Lord. So I ask everybody to pray. Be safe. Watch your children. Love your family. And as I say, God rest your souls. And may you have peace and happiness. Amen.